cider and a switch night. Ride the dawn on his motorbike. Looking for legends on the Sunset Strip with a stone cold paranormal partnership. Plans for town break, try to sell me some crack. Listen to this podcast, man, and take that shit back. It's Urban Legends, the podcast about urban legends. And here your host, Neil and Chris. You'll receive our pod in your ears tonight. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, it's working. Hello and welcome to this week's Urban Legend Classic, a classic episode, 2 from Series 1. You can hear the difference in quality very, very much. And in some ways, it's nice to see how far we've come, or alternatively, how little we've improved in quite a long time of doing this. So the first episode is a classic tale of neglect within the manufacturing industry. So it's we've all heard the stories of animals being found in foodstuffs, and this is basically having a look and seeing if any of it's true. I should warn you, it's quite a rambly one from what I've just heard back. It goes all over the shop. So this first classic is quite long. So maybe remember, you don't have to listen to it all at once if you want to keep sane. Well, with no further ado, here is Soda Mouse from sometime in the summer of 2021. Pew, 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 pew. Some kind of rodent in a soda can.
So this is one that you've come across before, and I've come across a story, and it's, obviously, as we've talked about, it's a British tabloid, so you can rely on this as absolute gospel.
100%.
It's a Daily Mirror, Chris.
Oh, that's one of the better ones.
Hard-hitting journalism. The headline, man shocked to find a dead mouse in his Coca-Cola can after drinking it whole. And I'd never come across this, so I just took it at face value. And it's kind of quite a disgusting one because, he's Damien from France, worried he could have contracted Vail's disease for drinking a rodent-infused Coca-Cola.
Mm.
And this isn't a new flavour. It's like those weird ones that they come out with. It's like cherry and vanilla all in the same one. A hint of lime and some... Rodent-infused isn't one of their new, they're really big in Jakarta or whatever. Apologies if that's massively racist to any of our friends from Jakarta, but wherever that might be.
Jakarta's the capital of Indonesia, isn't it?
Yes, it is. That's not, yeah. cut that all that bit out.
Nope. This is another situation where you've had to go at a massive area of people. I'm having to cut one out every episode.
I'm not intentional. I just don't. No, you occasionally see one of these stories where they'll talk about. I can't remember where it is, but there's.
Well, it's like McDonald's in Thailand. You can get really hot curries and stuff.
Yeah, or no, there's a Hitler branded restaurant somewhere.
Oh,
in,
yeah.
It might be Thailand, it might be somewhere else. I don't want to say the wrong one, but all adornment, because they hadn't really sort of like have the same cultural awareness around the Second World War and the swastika and things like this. But yeah, some quite extreme imagery.
Weirdly popular. What's this? Yeah, it's in Thailand. So Thailand, a fried chicken restaurant. So, I mean, if that's the thing, if it was good, I'd still go there. I do like the fried chicken. In Ubon, Ratchan Thanai.
Is it literally called something like Hitler fried chicken? I swear there's a place called something like that.
What's this one? So Hitler's cross, from small bites to mega joys.
Good Lord.
And there's one which is just called Hitler. which has to be. I know it's terrible, but it amuses me.
I mean, there's brand recognition. You'll say that, but I don't think it's the wrong type of recognition.
They have the KFC Colonel's outfit, so with the little sort of
the bolo tie or whatever they call it.
It's not bolo, but
tie.
that weird little tie and the apron on, and they've just banged Hitler's face on it instead of the Colonel, and it's just got Hitler written next to it. I know I shouldn't laugh, and it is insensitive, but I mean there is something quite funny about it.
Well, it's a sort of shock, isn't it? Because obviously, it's different context. But
and they changed the name after complaints, so they basically just blacked out his outline, sort of coloured it in, so it's just a silhouette with a question mark over it, and it's just called H.
Everyone's done nice.
It's called Hitler.
I thought what you were going to say for a second there as well, they just put Hitler in blackface, so then it could possibly be racist. Look, we've made him. I know you somehow made it even worse. It's actually 10 times more offensive now. Okay. Yeah. So obviously I'm not.
But I am massively keen on Goebbels tacos. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
Right, so he wasn't eating at Hitler. I don't know where he picked up his can of Coke anyway. So he was on his way from home after work. He bought a can of cola apparently, and he drank the whole thing off. And then he found, and there's a picture on here.
Dirty boy,
like a little claw or paw or whatever you want to call that, little mouse foot. As he'd emptied the drink, was about to throw it in the rubbish bin. The resident of Varennes-sur-Seine noticed the can still carried some weight.
Mm.
He found a dead mouse inside the soft drink can, reported the Parisian. He said, I immediately called Coca-Cola, and they spent a good quarter of an hour trying to sort it out. I'll be honest with you, if you found a dead fucking mouse, I was going to say, a good quarter.
Quarter of an hour is a really short amount of time.
Not a long time to discuss that.
I'm surprised he even got through to them in quarter of an hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although it doesn't mention he might have been on the phone for like 3 hours before that. A quarter of an hour, that's... Right, so what have you got? A mouse? All right, just a minute. Let me just... Sorry, computer's playing up.
I'm going to need to speak to my manager. I don't have a dialogue tree about this. I'm just searching the contact relationship management. I don't see anything about mice. I mean, to be honest with you...
So, did you want to make a complaint? Or...
Don't shout or everyone will want one.
Yeah.
Bad joke.
Very bad. Very, very bad.
It's very, very bad.
Oh, terrible.
Didn't even make sense.
Nope.
In or outside context of what we're talking about. There we go.
Oh, not at all. I mean, that was interdimensionally bad. Wasn't even on our plane of existence. So what happened? So after 15 minutes...
No, to 15 minutes, but it's got a happy ending.
They sent him a live mouse.
No, they are said to have offered him a 6-pack of Coca-Cola as compensation.
Seems low. That seems like not a lot.
Do you reckon they were mouse-filled?
Yeah. They sent him 6 mice that were filled with cola.
This is like a new Coke scenario. We're just trying it out and seeing how it lands.
They doubled down.
Yeah.
So and what happened? So did he accept that? Because I would have gone 6. I mean, you realise that I could die of mouse disease.
Yeah, exactly.
6 cans seems very little. I want some kind of cash settlement. Thanks very much.
Well, so he later received a letter from the company stating it would be impossible for the mouse to have entered the can at any point in the production process. He turned to the police, but was told to, quote,
fuck off.
Find solution. Well, do you know what? It's a euphemism for fuck off. To find solutions on the internet. Really? So you go down to the police station, it's like, oh, you found a mouse.
Yeah, but this is in France. So
they're probably not at lunch.
or they've just come back from lunch.
Yeah.
Planning lunch, thinking of lunch. Yeah. Find that on the internet. I got lunch.
Selling that. So Coca-Cola requested he send the can over for examination, but he refused, saying it's the only evidence that the incident happened at all. Oh, this is suspicious. He is now storing the can in freezer at his home. What are you going to do with that, Damien? And he filmed himself explaining how he found a dead mouse inside the can.
That's
However,
not
he
proof.
is concerned he could have contracted leptospirosis,
Yeah, we all are.
Weil's disease. Yeah, I mean, an infection that can be spread through the urine of rats, mice, and dogs, and therefore went to a doctor for help. Doctor assured him his gastric juice would be killing any bacteria. Well, that's good to know.
He's just trying to get off the fact that he is like that bloke that you were talking about earlier and is too intimate with dogs. Oh shit! I've read this disease. Maybe I can get a 2-for-1 here and get some money out of Coke too before I go down to the doctors.
Yeah. You think he'd been? Yeah, let's not.
I think the picture is painted.
So he's under surveillance for 21 days, and if he has an influenza condition, he's got to go to hospital. Coca-Cola has now offered him a voucher to redeem a pack of 6 Coca-Colas. They already got to that point, so
they're not buying it, are they?
No, they're not buying it. It's like, well, you take us to court then, friend. I mean, there is a picture here. So there is a picture with a mouse paw inside a can of Coke.
How would he have got it in there?
Well, that's an interesting point, actually.
Unless he took the top off and then really carefully soldered it back on or something.
Well, this is the thing. Well, no, because look. So yeah, I mean,
because a mouse wouldn't fit through the hole, would it?
No, so it's clearly not going from the top. So if you look at the picture, it does look weird because
right, let's have a look.
But look, he could have just sawn the bottom off the can. Right. I mean, firstly, hang on a second. I've already debunked his entire. If that picture is a picture of the that he said, then I've already caught him in the act, Chris. Amazing bit of investigative work from me.
Right.
Because he said...
That's why you're here. The only reason.
This has stopped working out well, is it? I'm going to get through my probation period. So he said, as he emptied the drink and about to throw it into a rubbish bin, he noticed it still carried some weight. But if you look at that picture, clearly that mouse paw is in what must be at least a third full of Coca-Cola can of Coke.
Right, how are you figuring that out?
Well, can you see the picture?
Yeah. See the
There's
mouse
a lot of Coke left in that can.
I can't see any Coke in the can.
Or is that just mouse fur?
That's mouse fur, mate.
Oh, good. My eyes don't work very well.
Neil, it's your one job. That's just the mouse fur. It's the mouse kind of leaning.
Oh, okay. So
like
there's a little bit of Coke drizzle here. Oh, okay. I didn't look at it properly.
Would you like to apologise to Damien?
I'd like to apologise to Damien. I think I've got that one.
He seems pretty litigious, Neil.
Well, he hasn't saved them yet, I don't believe. Oh, look at his little nails. No, because the thing is, though, so he's not allowed them to examine the can. Because I think you're right. I think if that was genuine, like, okay, you can look inside here and there's a dead mouse, how on earth could I have gotten that in there? It's got to be part of the manufacturing process.
Yeah, I guess also.
That would actually be pretty good evidence. However, if you just, cut the bottom off of that can and shove the mouse inside it,
yeah, or just photoshopped a picture of a mouse inside a can, which would be easy enough to do. I could do that.
Yeah, it's probably... I mean, you could probably...
I could easily do that on Photoshop.
But I imagine somebody could sort of, figure out that it's been photoshopped. But, even
by looking at the metadata? Considering they just went, I'll just give them 6 cans and he'll piss off. I doubt they're diving into the digital footprint.
I'm not suggesting that Cake would do it. I'm saying if I was going to scan it, I wouldn't Photoshop it. I'd do a prop.
Yeah, but again, you're only going to get anything if you let them look at the actual evidence. You're not going to get anything.
Well, this is the point. He's leaving it. He's leaving it in a freezer, isn't he? So that's the fact that he hasn't let them have the can. So right. He's claiming it's the only evidence he's got. But we'll let an independent expert examine the can. Then.
I don't know the manufacturing process of Coca-Cola. I don't know how thick or any cans substance. I don't know. No. So, I mean, I can't imagine. So the can goes on a conveyor belt like an open barrel. And then do they pour the drink in and then a lid's put on top? Or, I mean, that must be it, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I would have thought it was made out of one piece of aluminium and then I don't know. I've got no idea, truth be told, how they seal the cans up. But it can't be. Yeah, I would have.
We're going to have a look up. So the can production process. So it takes you video. Thanks. Complete can beverage production line. So look. So you've got your cans.
So they do shove a lid on.
They do, so it gets filled up and then they shove the lid on.
Made of two pieces, the can body and the can end or lid.
So when's the liquid added? Before the lid?
That's what I was thinking. When would you put the liquid in?
Because when they've got... So basically the crux of this, I would say, is when the liquid goes in. Because if they're just bringing a load of cans along, there's a good chance... Well, no, that makes it plausible, doesn't it? It makes it more plausible because...
If it was going into like a can with a sort of open top and then the thing was stamped on top, then that's... I suppose it's possible a mouse could get involved.
Yeah, it's possible because you don't know how these are stored, these other cans, etc., or if a mouse just jumped in while it was being moved. The mouse was scared or something, or there was, I don't know, a bird of prey maybe in the factory.
Yeah, the top of the can is very narrow. The narrow neck is sort of... The can's inside a critical space to keep what is in the can from touching or reacting with the metal. Can is baked in the metal. No, it looks like the bottom and top of the can are formed first.
Liquid's put in before the top's put on, Neil.
There we go.
So I think
it's possible.
I think it's possible. So this is only from a couple of years ago, isn't it?
Yeah, this is 2019.
So I have heard this story before that, I would say. This seems to be quite a large sort of urban myth.
It's definitely one that's gone around a bit. And if we look at a colossal book of urban legends, a resource tome we've been turning to
today.
Yeah, it's There's been a few incidents of these. It is quite a grim one actually, because you can imagine just drinking something and then seeing that would be.
Yeah, you're much more disgusted about this than I am, because when we talked about this before.
Yeah, firstly, it's absolutely gross. And secondly, there's the thought of getting disease from...
I'd be more... As we both discussed, we've both drunk cans with cigarette butts or whatever in by mistake in the past. And that is quite disgusting.
Organic, though. Well, I suppose a mouse, I suppose. But, yeah, that's quite disgusting. Less of a chance of disease, though. It's a living thing.
I'd be more disgusted if it was a spider, I think.
Somehow less. I don't know. Rodent. That's just it's huge. So something out of a David Lynch film. It's film. Yeah.
So, is it the size that puts you off?
Yeah, it's yeah.
What if there's a goldfish? Somehow goldfish have got in. Would you be bothered, or is it actually the fact that it's a mammal that possibly is disease-ridden?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's the disease aspect.
So a rat would be worse for you then.
Oh, rat would be far worse. Yeah. Bigger and horribler.
So rat, that's the worst. Then mouse.
Yep.
Then goldfish. Then
goldfish. I'm toiling towards and not actually probably finish the can. And if it's beer, all bets are off. I mean, if it's 3:00 in the morning, there's a rat inside a can of Stella. I'm not.
And it's the only one there.
I'm probably pouring it into a glass. And I might filter it, but I'm not saying I'm not going to finish that off. Especially it's cold.
What was it you said? You found?
And let's face it, Stella. It couldn't taste any worse.
You had a can at a party or something, and it had loads of flies in it, wasn't it?
No, this was the morning after. I think
morning
I had
after.
a bunch of people around as a student or something, and it was one of those getting up at sort of like about noon, and
here we go. It was 8.
Whatever. A cigarette, and sort of. Just the thought kind of, oh, there's something still in there. Just, necked it, and there's quite an enormous quantity of dead flies inside this can.
Oh man, that's horrible.
That's going back down the sink. Wash your mouth out. Yeah, that was.
That's worse for me than the mouse, I think.
It could be an urban myth. Did I say me? I meant a friend of a friend. This happened to a friend of a friend. I think I'm beginning to see why these urban myths happen. It's just like, oh God, I just admitted that happened to me.
Oh man, that's rough.
Yeah, it was absolutely horrible. It's one of those you just sort of suddenly run to the toilet and just spit it all out and just wash your mouth out. But I didn't throw it back up. But it was a close thing.
Oh, nasty stuff.
Yeah, well, that's the thing as well. It's that. The mouthfeel of dead flies in warm beer. It's not.
There was a beer in the sun as well.
It was by the couch, or I think it was. No, it would have been in
What
the
type
shade.
were they little beer flies or blue balls? Or a mixture?
Huge wasps. No, I think it was. I think it was just flies, so like reasonably smallish. Nothing too. Yeah.
Okay, that's all right then. Don't worry about it. It's almost like the smaller the worse, though, in that instance.
Well, I mean, it's like if you'd had one of them, then you'd sort of like almost not
Quite Moorish. So you carry on.
It was
you
really
had one?
it was a quantity issue, really. Because as I say, there really was quite an alarming number. I don't know where they'd all come from, but yeah.
Well, good fly trap, potentially.
Apparently, if you're out in rural France, you want to.
Yeah, just stick
You want to get a can of beer on there, they'll zoom into that. Apparently, it's like some magnet for. Yeah.
Rural France is pretty bad for flies.
Yes.
To be fair,
as we both know, it's yeah.
Yeah, having
lovely countryside, but you've got to share it with an enormous quantity of flies.
having both been French farmers. In our early career, it's where we met actually. I was
protesting some blockade or something, weren't we? I can't remember. Taxes were too high or money wasn't high enough. I can't remember.
Yeah, that was exactly it. I was blockading all of the roads that went into Luxembourg at the time because of the tariffs that they put on soybeans.
Outrageous, Libby.
Yeah, and then I set fire to some cars. And then
don't want to set them fire to why they so full of petrol.
Why aren't they made of water?
Yeah. If you had bothered, you maybe would have made it fire safe proof, wouldn't you?
You would have made it out of tungsten.
I think you would have learnt that the Hindenburg went down, but apparently not.
Yeah, you've got rules over soybeans, but not over flammability.
Can you find a blimp ride? Can you fuck? Meanwhile, cars are all going around. Mobile bombs, as I call them. To be expected.
Yeah, what the hell are you doing living on a planet which has oxygen as one of the major components of its atmosphere? It's flammable gas, you idiots.
Nitrogen went up from 70 to, say, 99%. Fair enough. Who you be? It's not the case. Got to live in the world we've got to live in.
Yeah, idiots. To asking for trouble. So there's some previous, isn't there, on the old mouse in a solder?
Yeah, and there absolutely is, and it's kind of it's become one of those things that. So this is the thing.
Do you reckon people just like because they've heard of it, they just if they're on their uppers think I'll give it a go?
Well, yeah, and I think that this is something that comes across in quite a few. This would be a tricky one though to actually scam it because you'll see things like fried food that's got a rodent in it or something like that.
Yeah,
that's easy enough to recreate because if you've got a frying pan and some flour, you can do yourself up a Kentucky fried rat quite easily.
I believe they're quite the delicacy, but you'd have to know the secret herbs and spices, wouldn't you? Which you can now find on the internet.
But is it the correct one? We ask ourselves.
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Probably. There's only a certain amount of herbs and spices.
Turns out it's largely MSG. Yeah.
Salt and MSG.
We could have figured that one out.
I don't think MSG is one of the ingredients, although it should be. Because
it totally is.
Is it?
Yeah.
I like MSG. I bought a pack of it once to just bang into some stuff. There's nothing wrong with it. It just sounds MSG.
It's perfectly fine.
It's monosodium
Japanese
glutamate.
cuisine's been using glutamate for hundreds of years.
People get funny about it because MSG sounds like a chemical, but it's basically
it's sort of like part of an amino acid. So it's like an amino acid. So it's just something you have in proteins. I say, I mean, it just comes. It was just I think he was a Japanese scientist, but he used a lot in Chinese cooking as well. Yeah, no, absolutely. So they used to use, I think, things like seaweed, where you get, your umami ingredients that you use these days. They're high in glutamates. So it's just somebody who's just, been able to...
Mushrooms, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like a bit of MSG. Like although it is kind of, as someone who quite likes cooking, cook quite well, it can be a way for people who can't to cheat.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to overuse it. I mean, I don't have any, but
no, I don't anymore.
I do remember going down there. There's a all-you-can-eat restaurant in where we live, which is it's it's very cheap, to be fair, but I remember having one of their things. God, most of their food just
Where was
tasted like
this?
pot noodle. It's it's down Preston Street, is it, or Preston Road?
Oh, right.
I forget the restaurant's name, but it's like £5 for like a dish. Very reasonable.
You were expecting.
Well, no, it wasn't. No. To be honest, I knew it was going to be like cheap noodles and sauce, and that's fine.
Right.
But it just
Is it all-you-can-eat Chinese on Preston Street?
I think it was something like that, or it was either all you can eat, or it was like just very, very cheap. I can't remember if it was a buffet or not, because there used to be one down. I can't remember, but anyway. But it was just it just like literally just tasted like pot noodle, which is fine. I'll eat a pot noodle, but I ended up smothering it in chili sauce, which was free, so that was good. There was a condiment that made it taste of something other than.
I think I've only ever been to an all-you-can-eat restaurant once, unless you consider an all-inclusive holiday, and I've been on those twice. So that's kind of an all-you-can-eat deal, because you can just not have what you want. But I've only been to an all-you-can-eat restaurant once, I think, which was
twice, both with work colleagues.
Oh, I guess the Mongolian place in Brighton's all-you-can-eat, isn't it? Sort of. I've been there.
I've not been there. Is that the Mongolian cat, whatever they call it? You can cook your own meats and things.
Yeah. Well, you don't cook your own; they cook it for you. You basically.
Don't you bring up the ingredients?
You have a bowl and you bang stuff in the bowl, and then they cook it and just put it in. Then you can just.
Okay.
Just mix what you want.
I didn't realise you could go back up and sort of.
Yeah, many times as you want. Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I'm not eating there actually. I've heard it's very good.
Mongolian barbecue, I think it's called.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is nice.
Yeah, because that's a traditional type of restaurant, isn't it? I believe in sort of Mongolia, presumably.
Yeah, I made a roast dinner noodle thing. I had like potatoes, peas, carrots, beef, mint sauce. It's very good. It's very good. It's kind of thing that you'd get in the capital of Mongolia, where there's loads of expats living, and they just have like only fools and horses on all the time, and they'd be eating roast dinner noodles.
Yeah, pucker pies with chips.
Complaining about it.
Right, yeah. The weather's a bit hot.
Bit much wrestling and horses around here. Ooh.
Ironically, very pro-Brexit for some reason.
They're not really understanding what the issues are going to be for themselves. Yeah, all you can eat. Yeah, I went to an all-you-can-eat Chinese in Northampton, and it was all right. But I mean, you do just end up feeling sick because I'm not someone who's used to all-you-can-eat, and you kind of.
You don't. That's the thing, is you don't want to sort of do the whole thing, and it depends. I mean, there was one place. I did tell you one wasn't that great, one was nice, but Chinese all you can eat generally tend to be quite nice because Chinese food, there's loads of different sort of snacking you can have, because it tends to as well. But it's not like big piece. Because I think with a lot of these places, like I've not been to them, but apparently like the sort of pizza restaurants and stuff, they put the sort of cheap carby stuff out to try and fill you up.
Oh yeah, I've been to an all you can eat pizza place as well when I was I know. Yeah, when
I've been to two all-you-can-eat Chinese places, which are fine because, as I say, Chinese food lends itself.
Good variety.
But as you say, the thing is, you don't want to be going back from. I mean, you go back and do some seconds just because you're in an all-you-can-eat place, but you don't want to do more than that.
I remember there was a massive queue there, and I was kind of like queuing up, and I was kind of, and everyone was stopping at this tray, and I was thinking, God, there must be something really nice there, like. Yeah. You know, like the salt and pepper chicken wings or something that everyone's like cracking on with. And I got to that tray and it was just chips. So, brilliant. Gone to a Chinese restaurant, we all just want to fill our plates with chips.
Curry and chips. Two very traditional Chinese dishes. I
do like a Chinese curry.
Oh, yeah, no, don't get me wrong. It's kind of like, but it's not, well, it's not about authenticity, is it? But, I like Chinese curry. Or chip shop curry. It's another. Both fairly similar. I don't know what they make it from, but
it's very mild curry sauce, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, no, this place. There was a place down. So one of the places went Trafalgar Street, I think it was in. That had a very good place there, and they had like chicken satay and stuff like that. It's very nice.
Yeah, that's what I had. The place in Northampton.
Decently done. And there was another place. I think it must have been down. I can't remember. It was down on London Road, I think.
Yeah, there used to be an all-you-can-eat place down there.
Yeah, you don't really see them anymore, do you?
I guess that's a good thing, really.
Well, yeah.
Well, I mean, you do see them, but you don't really see them in Brighton, and I think that's something to do with the town, really.
They're all horrific snobs and we're all really rich.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly what it is. Is it artisan? That's what I always say.
Is this sourdough?
Yeah.
Chicken tikka. I don't know.
Sourdough chicken tikka.
No, I'm trying to think. You don't tend to get too many bread-based dishes, Chinese or
prawn toast. You normally get them.
Yeah. There you go. Sourdough prawn toast. That should have been what I've gone for.
Sourdough with North Atlantic huntsman prawn tails.
Are these prawns or shrimp on this? This is sourdough on this sourdough prawn toast.
It's the same thing, mate. It's the same thing. What I'll do is I'll leave most of that in, but I'll fade it out and then just say, here, we talked about all you can eat restaurants for 20 minutes.
Not quite sure why, but it seems to be.
Right, so.
I don't know how we segue back into my mouse in a cola, but I'm just doing that.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
And anyway, that reminds me of mice in cola.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't want to eat all of that or drink all of that. Fucking hell. I'm not getting any better at this. I'm actually getting worse. The joke is incredibly slowly taking place in my head, but it's not worth getting out of my mouth, so we'll just move swiftly on. I mean, this is the thing: is there have actually been some genuine court cases that have been brought across. So, and I think this one's even more disgusting than the mouse in a can Coke. But there was in the 30s, there was an Ella Reed Creech of Shelbyville, Kentucky, that she sued a Coca-Cola bottler. And there was another claim in the 40s in 1943. And there was a case in 1971 in which a 76-year-old man was awarded $20,000 in a suit against a bottler.
So he won.
Yeah. So there has been...
Why is it more disgusting? Is it because you support big soda?
No, it's because you see it.
Oh.
You imagine that?
What? So she saw the mouse in the bottle?
Yeah, I mean, if it was a glass bottle and you drank it, and you'd
see a sort of really
see a dead rodent,
bloated mouse at the bottom.
Yeah.
When was it? In the 20s?
Possibly rotting. Well, there's a bunch of them. So there was one in 1931. There was one in 43.
Was it still made with?
This was one.
Was it still made with cocaine in 1931?
I believe that would have reverted just the sugar-based high at that point. I think the cocaine thing probably would have been in the 10s or 20s. They would have switched that around, I would have thought. I don't know how long that whole thing actually carried on for. Or, using extract of coca leaves. I don't think they ever actually used cocaine. Unless you go to the right places, obviously. You go to George Clooney's party, don't worry, you're getting...
Clooney's parties, in particular.
I don't know why I'm picking on George Clooney. Yeah.
George Clooney, well known, of course, for lacing soft drinks with cocaine.
Friend of a friend told me. I'm just trying to start a new urban...
Friend of a friend.
He just really likes that story and wants to bring, he just wants to bring it back. It's great fun of irony.
He puts MDMA in tea as well.
Well, who doesn't?
So the amount of cocaine in Coca-Cola was reduced over time and finally eliminated in 1929 during the Prohibition era.
They're not far off them.
No.
I tell you what, those prohibitionists have got a lot to answer for.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we wouldn't...
Cocoa leaves have been used for thousands of years by, Native Americans.
God, it was good, well-timed sniff there, Neil. Just in case anyone... And you just tongued your gums as well. How much cocaine are you on?
Yeah, right. Can you hear me grinding my teeth? It feels quite loud in my head. Why are you talking so much?
Yeah, I mean, if you think of... to be fair, they chewed the leaves, didn't they, probably, rather than...
No, exactly. That's the point I was making. Is
melted them down with petrol or something.
Yeah, rather than just this is quite nice, but how about if it was more extreme? It's a typical Western way of dealing with everything. But yeah, no, it was just just chewing a pad of leaves,
Just gives you a nice buzz, man.
Just gets you through the day.
So you can kill a spider monkey to eat.
It's 3:00 and I was in yet another meeting, internal meeting. How I could do with a wad of cocoa leaves through that last couple of hours.
Oh, there's
Can I stop you there? I just need to. Yeah, that's better. You carry on.
It's mint. Don't worry.
Yeah. Oh, you've got a few points to make about this, have you? Oh, no, please. Isn't there
a thing called cat or something which is similar? Which is
the cat and a coke
no.
Ironically, not as bad as a mouse to me or a rat, but although worse
chase
than
the mouse in.
Poor cat's got in there.
No,
I just imagine a little cat head bobbing up in the. That's not what we want.
Well, a cat would fill most of the. A cat wouldn't get in it. I don't want to think about a cat getting.
Well, this is why I'm a bit spurious with the whole bottling thing. I don't see that. There's very little room for how would a mouse get in a bottle?
Maybe it was born into the bottle and it sort of grew up in there somehow, like a ship in a bottle.
A tiny little embryonic mouse. There's so much sugar in the cocaine.
It got really massive. Smashed through the bottle. Yeah. No, there's a thing called cat, which is like a Somali sort of chewing leaf, which.
Oh, this vaguely rings a bell.
Yeah, which the Somali community in London have, and that gives you kind of a high, but I don't know whether they're trying to ban it or something.
Well, I think in theory, didn't back when Theresa May was in Home Office, they pretty much banned anything that you could enjoy. So the Psychoactive Substances Act was kind of more or less, because the definition was something like if it's a product and it has a
AHAT,
you could, it can be bad because basically, I'll give them some minor bit of credit in which effectively what's been quite difficult with drug laws recently, a lot of because I think certain chemists and stuff are just coming up with derivations of like things that, well, exactly, yeah, good luck to them. So it's quite hard to ban things.
Yeah, they just move a molecule around and it's like...
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever.
And in theory, it's probably going to act reasonably similar, although it could be quite different. As
spice.
Like thalidomide, even something that looks identical but is a mirror image, can have very, very different reactions on the body. But hey, let's face it, drug users aren't necessarily your most discriminating group, he says judgmentally.
Yeah,
I'd certainly never touch anything illegal, Chris. That's disgusting behaviour.
I knew people who did in their 20s and early 30s, and I would say that they weren't necessarily very discriminating. So the leafy plant cat, which is...
Why are you winking at me and tapping your nose, Chris? I don't
know. Just because we both know these people.
Yeah, true.
So leafy plant cat, which acts as a stimulant when chewed, is about to become a banned Class C drug. How big a problem is it? Why are they making it illegal? It could be a...
And where can I get hold of this before it becomes illegal? More importantly.
Yeah. It could be a scene from a market in Mogadishu. Dozens of Somali men are throwing cardboard boxes at each other across a dusty warehouse floor. Money is exchanged. Blah, 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 blah. So it's a mysterious plant called cat or mira, or more mystically, tea of the Arabs. Users chew the bitter leaves of this natural stimulant. It's supposed to make them more alert and raise energy levels, which is why supporters say it's as harmless as tea and coffee. The Treasury even benefits $2.5 million per annum in taxes on the cat trade. So why is it?
I presume because of the high number of deaths that it causes.
Yes, as with all drugs.
Obviously we have a highly evidence-based drugs policy.
So two main stimulants in cats speed up the unit's mind and body, like a less powerful amphetamine, and make people happy and talkative. But it can cause insomnia and temporary confusion. Chewed for a few hours, it leaves users with a feeling of calm, described as blissed out. It could make pre-existing mental health conditions worse, and it can provoke feeling of anxiety. It can also inflame the mouth and damage teeth, and they're concerned about long-term risk of mouth cancers. So that's why they've banned tobacco and alcohol then.
Well, exactly. Again, because, it's the Psychoactive Substances Act 2016. So it's an offence to produce, supply, offer to supply, yada, 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 any substance intended for human consumption that is capable of producing a psychoactive effect.
Intended for human consumption. So ketamine's still fine then, because it's not intended for human consumption, is it? It's intended for horse
if you're making it for
tranquilizing.
horse medicine, yeah. I don't think they use it for horse medicine anymore, but yeah, you can.
Just kept getting
I think
nicked.
it's still legitimately used for medicinal reasons, and it excludes legitimate substances such as food, alcohol, tobacco, nicotine, caffeine, and medical products.
So
That's good.
Yeah,
because alcohol and tobacco have been around for too long, and people would vote against us if we banned those.
yeah.
But yeah, so basically anything that has a psychoactive effect, which is just
Masturbating.
it's a very broad church. Well, if you bottle it, I've tried. Believe you in me.
That's another story for another time.
Yeah.
So you were kicked out of Dragon's Den, weren't you?
Yeah. Prude.
Hyperventilating, going.
It's not for human consumption. It's not a substance.
Well, you're
It's not for
consuming it,
human
aren't you?
consumption. What, hyperventilation?
Well, you're consuming high levels of oxygen, consuming it into your bloodstream. That's consuming.
No, take it up with the lawyers.
No, I won't. I'll just continue to do it.
If you want them to redraft the
legislation, I would like them to redraft it, but it would be slightly larger. It would be more of a U-turn than can you also ban hyperventilating?
Well, no, that's kind of my point. Is that it's such a broad thing that they've brought in now. It's effectively anything that has an effect on you is effectively illegal, which is kind of seems mildly ridiculous.
What I would say about that is, so that very negatively affects people who use cat, which is a traditional thing they've used for thousands of years, presumably, and by the looks of things, doesn't seem particularly harmful. It affects them, so they won't be able to get hold of their cat anymore. Potentially, that could lead them to take something else, which could be more harmful. But I don't think that a law like that's going to stop people who are going to want to get hold of heroin or cocaine, particularly. So that law...
Well, you say that, but there's a lot of problems with drugs, and so, I think it's about time we tried legislation. I think it was some zero tolerance. I think it's about time we tried that. We've tried everything.
I think we should put more money into a war on drugs, personally, because that's been incredibly cheap and effective.
Absolutely, yeah. It's all-encompassing laws and policing regime where you can criminalise people for incredibly minor things that do no harm to others.
Yeah, I think that's the best thing to do.
Seems reasonable to me.
Absolutely. Create a class of criminals out of people who could actually put a lot into society.
Are they rich people though, Chris?
What, the ones doing drugs, or the ones who are arrested for doing drugs?
Yeah, the latter, obviously.
The ones who are arrested for doing drugs, no, I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't say they're rich people, no.
If you're caught out eating or something, it's just hygiene, isn't it? Just high.
Boys, little big boys!
Exactly. Whereas, if you want a council estate, then clearly,
Yeah, well, it's just you
go to prison for 5 to 10 years, sort your life out, which I'm sure you will do after 10 years of incarceration.
Yeah, with kind of very horrible criminals, poor conditions, little chance of rehabilitation or education, overcrowding.
Or any decent job afterwards.
Yeah, no chance of getting any kind of decent career afterwards. Sounds ideal. Yeah, so
we'll do anything other than talk about Michael. Fucking started dictating drug policy.
It goes where it goes, Neil. It goes where it goes.
That's fine.
So
I've got a few more high horses I want to go.
Do you want a hand up? I'm actually going to ride this high horse onto the higher horse. Mouse in a can.
Right. Well, I've just got to share this fact. We talked about, I'd say, I'd estimate roughly an hour and a half ago. We talked about the 71 court case. I just got to share this fact about, and he was. Bear in mind, he was 76 at the time. Well, actually, so maybe that was when they settled. So I don't know when he started suing. But
as a kid,
the Washington Post reported, he was like, it happened when he was 12, and he's been fighting this injustice, a fucking Hillsborough thing, and he's been fighting this monstrous injustice. It's big soda however long. He'll never forget.
And he initially put the claim in for 20 grand because when he was 12, that would have been the equivalent of about 20 million today. But by the time they actually settled, it was
bought a house and retired. I mean, it was just
but he couldn't get a job because he was too embroiled in the court case.
Well, here's the thing. He'd found the legs and tail of a mouse in a bottle of Coke he bought from a vending machine outside a Safeway store. He was hospitalised for 3 days, and afterward, no longer liking meat, he lived on a diet of grilled cheese, toast, and noodles for 60 years. Imagine that.
Well, I mean, it's when you hear stuff like that, it does thumb the nose at the bloody government telling us that we need to eat five fruit and veg a day, doesn't it?
Lived 72. Well, at least 72.
Well, he was 72 when he got his court case.
Yeah, when he got his cash.
Yeah, and he's just eating cheese on toast or toasted cheese sandwiches.
That's not a fact that we've made up.
And noodles.
Decided that when he was a child, yeah.
Doesn't sound like a great diet, but you know, he's alive, isn't he?
Flatmate at uni, he lived on toast and Nutella for at least
all the time. Didn't eat dinners.
Yeah. No, well, unless we went out to a restaurant.
Ooh. Fancy students. Was this when you were at Westminster College?
When I was at UCL, but yeah. No, how he didn't get scurvy, I don't know. But...
You can punish your body a lot when you go.
Well, that's true. Yeah,
actually, you did get scurvy.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, his teeth did all fall out, as I recall. He did drink a bit of lemon. Actually, that was the third
it's a lemon
component.
Oh yeah, well that balance the system. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. So there you go. There's a bit of vitamin C, presumably plenty of vitamin C in a bottle of bit of lemon. But that might ward off scurvy, I suppose.
Yeah, and demons.
Yeah.
I mean, I would get. I can't eat the same thing over and over again.
No, I'd be bored after a while.
I remember that when you're a kid and like you get your packed lunches, and like it's been quite a tight month, and so you've just got.
Slightly moist warm sandwich.
Yeah, with like meat, like with
sweating and
with some meat spread in it because it's like cheap or cheap pate or something that you get in the tubes.
Ironically, quite filled with nice tubes.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm not that bothered about it.
How do you know? Yeah.
But if you have that every day of the week, you do get bored of stuff after a while. You kind of have to.
I'll be honest with you, meat pate sandwich, I get bored of it after the first bite. Like halfway through the first bite, it's the blandest. Have you seen? There's this. I think it's in Sweden.
Pate sandwich or just meat paste. Pate sandwiches are good. I used to eat that.
No, pate. I take them to work, but I wouldn't make it as a sandwich, but like an open sandwich maybe, but spread on toast or something.
You wouldn't have it as a sandwich?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, you haven't lived.
Or like a banh mi or something like that.
What?
You want some other fucking banh mi? The Vietnamese baguette.
So they use pate. What is going on with you? A banh mi?
Pickled veg. Banh mi.
You've
never heard of these?
Who am I talking to?
It's a Vietnamese sandwich. Where
are you getting Vietnamese sandwiches from? Have you been sex tourisming in Southeast Asia again?
There's a restaurant in Trafalgar Street called, I think it's Pho or Pho.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know how you pronounce that. There you go. You get banh mi down there.
When would I do that?
Perhaps. If you were at work and you fancied a sandwich that was a bit different.
Lewis, mate. Shouldn't tell. I'm just doxing myself. No, Vietnamese. I mean, good. I'm glad that your palate is open to the world, and I'm glad that people are getting to try things. But that was kind of a left field answer to my having a pate sandwich.
Well, there's some pate in it. No, the point I was making is the pate itself. I don't know. It just would be, be a wee bit bland.
I've had pate sandwiches every day this week at work. Brussels pate, smooth.
One man's meat is another man's poison.
Yeah. One man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter.
Yeah, exactly. One man's pate sandwich, another man's banh mi or banh mi or anything.
That's fancy, man. It's very fancy.
I'm like not that often.
A couple of times a week, you know.
Like 2 or 3 times.
2 or 3 times a week. And the rest of the time, I
have to see if they deliver. Actually, having worked from home the last year, I could do with a bowl of pho.
I guess that sandwich is influenced by French colonial rule, is it?
Yeah, almost certainly. Because I think it's like a mixture. Grilled and pulled pork, I imagine, is sort of a French influence. The pate as well, but then the pickled vegetable and stuff like that is obviously Vietnamese influence. Well, and the baguette, obviously. Well, it's a special type of Vietnamese bread. So it's like a baguette shape. They use, I think, rice flour or something, which makes it softer.
Nice.
So yeah, it's a particular type of Vietnamese bread. It's a bit like, if you've ever had those Cuban sandwiches. I mean, you're not sure. Going sort of pulled pork. That's with cheese, though. I think.
No, I like my sandwiches like I like my women predictable.
So ground up into a fine paste, spread
between my two palms to make them thin. I do that with sandwiches. I sometimes, before I even make the sandwich, I'll go at the bread with a rolling pin, to make the bread really thin. I don't know. I just like the taste more when it's really thin sandwich. That's when I'm feeling fancy, in the morning before I go to work. Just bang some pate in between two bits of bread and away you go. It's all right. Survival food now. Survival food. Like the kush tucker, man.
It reminded me of the meat paste one, because you said that in Sweden, I think, they've got this sandwich where they have the same thing every day at work, but the idea is it just sort of fills you up and you carry on with your day. It's like just some meat paste, and then I like some bland cheese, and I can't remember, all on sort of like brown bread, but it's supposed to be boring and predictable.
Do they not like pickle it and bury it for a year or something?
I think that's Iceland, and it's their shark to make it
ferment.
I'm assuming that was bad. I doubt anyone in Iceland ever actually eats hakka.
They do sometimes. It's like once a year they meant to have it.
Yeah, for a laugh.
It's like punishment.
It's not going to be like us eating roast beef or something, is it? You know what I mean?
But they do that. They like fermented fish, don't they, in Scandinavia?
Oh, no, fermented fish is nice. Making a shark go rotten for 3 years until it tastes of ammonia, I think I'm less into.
Do you know? I'm always slightly confused of what bird's nest soup is.
Yeah, I don't.
Has it got a bird's nest in it, or is it like they've got noodles in it? I think
it's noodles, but very thin noodles.
What about like really old rotten eggs? They were something which apparently people in China ate, according to the Beano, when I was younger.
Well, there is a thing called a 100-year egg, but I think that's more of a pickled kind of thing.
Pickled eggs.
Century egg or something like that it's called. Oh no, there are edible birds. Let's have a look. No, there are edible birds' nests. So I think if you bought bird's nest soup these days, it would just be noodles. But you can get swifts or swiftlets to actually make bird's nests. So they're very prized in Chinese culture.
When you eat them.
Yep, edible bird's nests. They're made, but made by.
What are they made of? What's edible about?
Solidified swiftlets to saliva.
What?
We've gone full circle on this.
Right.
People find... Yeah, so here we go. Let's have a look. Again, this is for what you can take from Wikipedia, but the bird basically spits out. I imagine they chew up some sort of material and spit it out, and it becomes a sort of a thin, solidified thing that they can nest the eggs in. Yeah.
What? So it's like they make their nest out of spit, and then people eat.
Well, no, because like when they're feeding
vomit
young birds, they chew up and then spit it into the mouth, and they'll vomit into the mouth. So I presume that it's not they're chewing something. Well, it literally says using solidified saliva, and it's high in protein and has a rich flavour. Apparently, they're among the most expensive animal products consumed by humans, with nests being sold at prices of up to $3,000 per pound.
A pound.
Probably go with some caviar, to be honest with you.
Or I'm quite happy with just patty sandwich.
Caviar, yeah.
I quite like caviar. I don't think I've ever had proper caviar. I like lumpfish eggs. They're nice.
I think I've had not like beluga or the really mental stuff, but I think I had some in Spain.
I might have had it. I don't know.
As I put it to people who hadn't had it before, it's like posh mackerel.
It's very nice. Basically. I like the texture of it as well. You're editing this one.
Yeah, well, I'll edit this one down. This is going to be fun today. So I'm sure there's one I read around here where somebody actually went mad. So what's certainly happened, I think, is that there's been, there's absolutely some foundations to this. So there's been
instances.
A search in 76 on court cases. They turned up 45 court cases beginning in 1914. So it happens occasionally. You can imagine it happening, can't you? Especially, I mean, probably not so much nowadays,
In the old
but
days.
with health and safety, you can't even get your fucking mouse inside anymore. But you still like the taste of mouse.
Yeah. Used to be a Christmas treat.
But you found a mouse you coat, it was lucky. Who bored down the street and just be like cheering you on. He was king of the road. Little Timmy, and a rat. Hey, 3 cheers.
You should be given a silver shilling with King Edward on the back. Yeah, so I can. And the thing is, I guess cans of soft drink must be, or any drink, I guess, booze and stuff. Just cans of drink must be kind of one of the. Must be one of the largest manufactured products in the world. Like, how many of them?
Oh, absolutely, and I would imagine that most of that stuff is spotless because it's going to be run very, very efficiently. I mean, there's such a high
mice.
Industry. I suppose it's just sugar.
They're not interested, are they? They'll still have a little sneak around. I mean, they're very small mice as well. They can get places, so I can imagine it happening.
I think it's happened. I think it's just not as widespread as a bunch of these stories don't have. But yeah, I think it's definitely happened in the past, but.
It's not a widespread thing.
Nowhere near as widespread as
I think probably just if you're looking at the billions and billions of cans that are sold every year, it's probably just statistically likely that people are going to find a couple of bits in some of them, mice or fingers.
Well,
maybe
it's part of the recipe. They didn't grind up the mouse.
Well, everything. That's how to keep it fizzy.
Yeah. What you thought we poured carbon dioxide or nitrogen into the? Did you see the price?
Yeah,
of nitrogen
it's like helium. The world's running out of it.
A decomposing mouse.
Natural fizz.
Right, lovely.
Fizz that does the biz. Orangina, they put a whole rat in it. That's why it's so fizzy. I would like to add that that was for comedy purposes. I have no evidence to prove nor disprove that Orangina used rats to make their drinks particularly fizzy. Thank you. There's been no suggestion of that apart from by me just now, and I was doing it for comedy effect. I quite like Orangina. If you want to send me some Orangina, then I'll Orangina all your Orangina. Thanks very much. Nice drink, Orangina. Like it now, you can get it in 2-litre bottles.
You were enjoying digging your hole there?
Well, I tried to turn it round from getting super Orangina to getting some free Orangina.
If it was in the little glass bottles, I don't feel it should come in 2-litre bottles.
Because you live in the past.
Yeah,
I want Orangina that I can 3D print directly into my brain, so I can.
How would that work?
The science.
Just a sensation of drinking an orange.
The sensation of slightly tart orangeade. It's nice because it's got that tartness. Orangina must be.
Is it cool though?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the 2-litre stuff's good to get from the newsagent. Lovely. So,
I've not come across it. I've not come across Orangina for years.
Well, that's because you're hanging around eating Vietnamese open sandwiches, Neil. You're not like me, going down a newsagent.
Yeah. I'll have 2 litres of orangeade and a jar of pate, please.
The
cheapest white bread you have.
How much wheat has got in it? 4%, too much. Right, so I think that we've probably discussed the can of Coke Mouse situation, urban legend. As much as we could, went off piece a little bit, but I'd say that in general we kept it very much on track. So let's go.
That was alive. If that's the world you want to live in, by all means.
So Neil, you can start with spookiness.
So I'm gonna take this to mean kind of like, or just general spookiness or grossness or something that peeves you out. This one. I mean, had much more visceral reaction when we discussed this last week.
And then the scoring and all that. The only bit which we've kept him from the very start. Can't really get rid of it, to be honest. It does take a bit of time, but Got to keep something, haven't you? Tie it all together, I suppose. So, the next episode is about a cheeky South American legend, a little monster that dries your mouth out. So, yeah. Hopefully you enjoy this. It's very different to the last one. And, yeah, there you go. Pew, 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 I am going to be reading out, and we're going to be picking over a urban myth / legend from the mythical cloud kingdom of Chile in South America. We're trying to have a look at some stuff from all over the world because often they're quite interesting and we don't want it to just be Britain and American based. I mean, to be honest, you could just do American urban legends forever because they seem to be the hotbed of it. Yeah. So this is El Basilisco or Co. That'd be Co, wouldn't it? Basilico?
Yeah, I'm not sure actually.
Yeah, okay, well, I'm going to go with El Basilisco Chilote. Let's have a start on this. Hailing from the Chilote archipelago in southern Chile, El Basilisco Chilote is a reptilian beast from Chilote mythology that is sure to strike fear into the hearts of any man, or hunger, depending on how much you like fried chicken. I'm reading this from an article from In the Dark Air, and I believe it was done by Madam Addison Plainter.
Oh, okay.
Or Plaintier. So jokes like that aren't coming from me. I'd just like to make that clear. After all, at first glance, El Basilisco Chilote hardly looks intimidating. In fact, most artistic descriptions or depictions, God, my words are bad today, of the beast imply that even it's a bit confused as to precisely what it was. When you look like the awkward result of a chicken mix and match book, it must be hard to take yourself seriously. This may explain why our repulsive reptile operates in the shadows and has adopted an insidious way of reaching its victims. So at the moment, it's saying it looks like a mix and match chicken, but it's a reptile.
Well, this sounds very much to me like, you'd have, I think it's just quite a medieval hype for this kind of stuff in Europe, where you'd have like a griffin, which was, I don't know, what is that? It's the head of a bird, eagle head,
body of a lion.
That's it. And then wings, I think.
Like an eagle.
Yeah. Or kind of like, I'm struggling to remember any of them now. But yeah, you kind of like, you would have just like really weird matchups or, like.
Well, they thought that in the very far
dragon's body.
When you get those medieval maps where it's all quite normal and fine, kind of in the centre of the maps. But then as they get kind of out towards the end of the known world, then there's just like there be dragons sort of shit, where you've got in the far north kind of Scandinavia, well, obviously it'd be difficult to get to because it's treacherous. They thought there was a race of dog-headed men. And then like you had sort of down in, I don't know where it'd be, like south of Ethiopia, you had like people who had no heads but like eyes and facial features on their chests, or you had people who like had two arms and just one big foot.
Yes, I've seen like pictures of that.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. Right, so according to the legend, it can only be hatched from an egg that has been laid and incubated by an old hen or a red rooster. Once the egg has hatched, the creature will slither its way under a house of an unsuspecting prey, whereupon it will burrow deep into the ground and establish an underground lair. Like a supervillain. During the day, it hides in its snugly subterranean den and waits for nightfall, like a grown man living in his mother's basement. Ugh. It's unnecessary. Once it's dark, however, and the household has fallen into a slumbering silence, El Basilisco Chilote will emerge to enact its deadly deeds. In a reversal of its rooster heritage, it emits a soothing song that lulls the people of the household to sleep. That's nice. Or deepens the slumber of those who've already drifted off into the land of dreams. It is only then that it slides atop of the chest of its victim, inhales their breath.
It's going to do something terrifying here, I assume, like steal your soul or death.
It inhales their breath, sucks the phlegm from their mouth, and ingests their sputum. I mean, that's. That makes it sound real because, like the most successful animals in nature find a niche.
Yeah, it's a bit like that bird who picks food off of a crocodile's teeth. Oh, that sounds like a tastier meal than sucking the saliva out of someone's mouth.
Well,
I suppose if you're a snake with a rooster's head, you've not got many options. But you think you'd be able to peck something a bit tastier out of the earth than that. Although who knows? Maybe some sort of not keen on its meal choices. I'll be honest with you.
So after 1 week of this nightly draining, the victim of El Basilisco Chilote will start to notice a dryness in their mouth from waking up, and the skin will become extremely pale. I mean, it does just sound like they're on the potweeds.
Yeah, I think just all skagging or something. Method. I think we should. I'm just thinking we should call it LB from now on in.
LB.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm going to be going with anyway. So
EBC. Yeah. I'm going with EBC.
Fair enough.
Okay.
I'm going with LB.
Just to confuse everyone. I think me especially. So over time, an unexplainable fatigue will overwhelm them. Their appetite will vanish, and they will rapidly start to lose muscle mass until they're a meagre shell of them for themselves. It's like. It sounds like lockdown, except for the appetite vanishing.
Yeah, I was going to say it's perfectly the opposite there for me.
Well, I mean, I withered my muscle quite a lot.
Yeah,
I've only just kind of got back to my pre-lockdown walking abilities. So,
going out for a decent walk, that was a surprise. Good Lord.
In the final stages, the victim will be plagued with a persistent cough, and the breathing will become laboured. This is a point at which EBC is extracting their final breaths, and it could only be a matter of days before the poor unfortunate will die from dehydration. So,
are we sure that COVID's COVID and isn't LB doing a world tour?
Could be, couldn't it?
Just, off to China for a bit.
So I know that sort of that... Chile's got very mountainous, isn't it? And very arid. So I mean,
well, you're on the coast, aren't you, Chile? Is that right?
Yeah, but I mean, it's sort of mountainous.
I would imagine so. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking. I always think I've been to Colombia, and I know. I always think of sort of Peru with that. Obviously that's very mountainous. I'm guessing it's similar because it borders Chile and Peru, doesn't it? I think they're on the border.
Yeah. Peru's north
of Chile, and then Colombia's north of that.
But like in Peru, you've got like the Nazca Plains, haven't you? And that's like the driest place on earth.
Okay.
So kind of when you're right up in the Andes, it's really like it's basically a desert because there's no rainfall because you're above the clouds. But I mean, these people are, I mean, is it magic dehydration? Because you'd think you'd wake up with a dry mouth and go, probably have some water.
Well, no, exactly, yeah.
Keep yourself hydrated.
No, I mean, because everyone would have the same response then, wouldn't they? So I don't think it would be...
What do you mean?
Well, no, what I mean is if it was about sort of high altitude or something like that, and I don't know if all of Chile is kind of a high altitude, but I honestly...
No, I don't think it's that. What I'm saying is there a lack of water around there? So these people are dying from dehydration because if not, the fact that he's like nicking your saliva and you wake up like feeling dry, like would you not just have like, you know when you feel thirsty, you just drink water.
I mean, that's true, but I think, are we assuming it's dehydration? Because I think just...
Well, they've said he dies from dehydration. The person dies from dehydration. So I think that's where I'm skeptical. That's the only
I agree, you'd drink some water, but I think Yeah, but is it, or is he sort of? Is there some sort of evil going on after he drinks saliva?
Is it a spiritual?
Exactly.
Is it a
This
spiritual
might be a spiritual
dehydration?
dehydration. Yeah, exactly. It might be.
Which I would say, Neil, that as a country we have here, we are suffering from. We might have plenty of rain, but we're suffering from a spiritual dehydration.
Mobile phones have advanced so much in the last 10 years, Chris, but have we left God behind in the process? That's what I'll put to you. Have we left good values, morality, and religion behind in the process? I would say that we have.
And I would say, if you want to know more about this, Neil has
Advances
actually
in prayer technology have barely advanced in the last 600 years.
Yeah, which is why you're releasing your app, isn't it?
By sending me money, I can increase the power of your prayer 600%.
Using 5G technology. It sends it via 5G. It sends it directly.
What is 73% more likely to hear your prayers?
It bounces your prayer directly off the steeple of Canterbury Cathedral.
I'm not going to get into the science, Chris. There's a lot of ley lines involved, Glastonbury Tor, Stonehenge, but, it's...
using the power of 5G, ley lines and vortexes.
That's nature in the ancient world's 5G. And obviously the power of...
And I believe that one of these prayer messages costs no more than your standard average.
It costs barely more than 3 nights stay at a 5-star hotel. So who can, and this is for your immortal souls. So who can? It's cheaper.
Yeah, and
you think of it like that. It's cheap, isn't it? Your future. It's your own future. It's fun.
And you're looking at eternity in basically heaven, which is at least a 4-star TripAdvisor
hotel.
Can't
pay your way in there. Well, other than the app.
It's not 7-star. No, God's not made of money. It's not. It's not that good. But there's it's half board basically. So seriously though, people do take some of it with you because otherwise you're going to go hungry. So once they are dead, EBC will move on to another member of the household and repeat the process until all the inhabitants have tragically perished. We're not 100% sure what happens after this point, but we like to imagine that each EBC goes to get their real estate license so they can sell the house on to the next family.
As we call them UK estate agents.
So, it is, yeah. Although they seem to be a lot more private ones in America, don't they?
Yeah, you can get
your real estate license.
Yeah, you can get a license and then just
get your
more small businesses in this country. Little Brexit will be online in a few years, won't it? Nobody will bother anymore.
Yeah, won't even go to the houses. I mean, I'm not even going to bother buying a house. I'm going to buy some land and real estate on Second Life. I believe that's the best way to earn money, or Eve Online. Something like that.
Presumably you'll be using the new British Bitcoin that our Chancellor's going to be setting up. Have you not heard about this? Yeah.
No.
Setting up an official British government Bitcoin type.
Are we going to tie our currency to it like the gold standards?
Well, I can think of more secure a way to ensure economic prosperity.
And if there's one thing that central government do, well, it's cyber security.
Fortunately, someone else has sort of already done the what do we call it? The blockchain technology.
Blockchain. Have they done it, or is it like that woman who conned everyone by saying she had a blockchain
just going to copy it from all of the other cryptocurrencies? But
that's interesting.
I don't know what the end game of this is, but
no, because you can't. I mean, you can't really use cryptocurrency for that much at the moment, really.
It's not backed up by the Bank of England.
But what's the point?
I've not really looked into it that thoroughly, but that's my first thing. I
mean, just in general.
Yeah, no. I mean, I would imagine it's just a splashy headline to get into the paper and look like you're innovative and Chancellor 2.0, but quick way to potentially raise some cash. I'm going to assume we'll just start paying all of the civil servants and nurses in cryptocurrency.
Well, I'll be getting paid in cryptocurrency.
When it inevitably takes a nosedive, that'll be interesting.
Well, and also, I mean, to be fair, that's handy for me because I do all my shopping on the dark web, as you well know. So I prefer the barter system of the dark web. If I want some bread, you can have some guns or whatever, that kind of thing. So, alongside literally sucking out the life of people, EBC can supposedly turn people to stone with a single gaze, like the Medusa. So avoid looking into its eyes at all costs. The only way to truly avoid the torment of this fowl is to find the egg before it hatches and burn it immediately. Bang! The hen or rooster who laid the egg must also be killed to ensure it can no longer birth any more monstrosities. If EBC has already hatched, however, and is living underneath the house, far more drastic measures are in order, Neil. What kind of measures would you employ if you found out that there was a chicken, reptile, Medusa?
It's clearly demonic. With strands of filthy pagans involved. I think nothing short of a full-scale exorcism.
Yeah, a witch, and maybe
I mean, probably, there's probably some local witches, so we probably need to have a prayer session and an exorcism combined.
And you've got to wonder where the people are getting their information about.
Just start up another full-scale inquisition, perhaps. That might be. I always thought, El Torquemada, whatever his name was quite a natty dresser. Wouldn't mind one of those hats.
Well, I think apart from
the red's quite a good.
Apart from the books which you personally approve, probably burn all the rest of them in case they've got.
Well, that's the good thing is with the Inquisition is just as long as you do enough praying, you get directed the right way, and worst case scenario, you burn an innocent, but then they go to heaven.
Yeah, win-win, isn't it?
It's like the old ducking stools for testing out whether someone's a witch. If they drown, they're innocent and they go to heaven.
Either way.
If they fight, burn them. Wow, that's justice at work. Can't see any possible means for corruption in this. So just
no, absolutely not.
Anyone who's slightly eccentric, or just like a woman who hasn't sort of like completely gone down and done what's expected of her medieval society, harassing them for no reason. Almost a coherent thought.
Yeah. So, the first and least reliable way to expel the beast requires the help of an experienced sorcerer.
I like
this. Yeah, the sorcerer must perform a ritual that involves placing 2 mechi rods in the shape of a cross, so they point to the 4 corners of the house, while simultaneously spreading an odorous poison across the floor. This will prompt the subterranean serpent to let out a deafening whistle.
I'd be good if it was like a really loud swanning whistle, wouldn't it?
Yeah. According to most accounts, however, the only truly foolproof way to get rid of a mature BC is to burn the house down entirely.
Burn all the woodlands as well. Bomb it. Nuclear weaponry.
Okay. So, appearance. EBC begins its life as a small, round egg that's greyish-white in colour and is said to resemble a marble. Right, this is going to be tough. There's a lot of L's and I's in this, and O's. This is known as a Iloliloli egg. That's L-L-O-I. Ilolioli leg. Or Ioli leg egg.
I think two L's might be pronounced as a Y as well to complicate things.
Yeah, Ioli.
Certainly in French, I believe, in Spanish.
Yoli. Would that be it? Yoli? Yeah, got it. So, what makes this egg particularly distinct is that it doesn't have a yolk. Where does the fucking
that would be really helpful in like California because you want your egg white omelette. Now you
that's
if you could get the eggs from El Basilico, super larger.
Yeah, get some yoli eggs.
Please. I forgot what it's called. LB. You can have an LB egg, please. All white omelette. They've just got more protein, Chris. It's got healthier protein. It's because they get all of it from saliva from Chilean people. Very healthy. Good amino acids.
Yeah, and they've got very rich red blood cells because of the lack of oxygen up there. Because they're living in higher altitudes.
Contained in this. Let's go with that.
After it has been successfully incubated, the oily egg hatches to reveal a bright red earthworm, which wriggles away from its den. It takes about a year for this creepy crawly to mature into the horrifying hybrid that is LBC.
Isn't this how Boris Johnson was conceived? Or, submit with your own right-wing celebrity. Have fun.
Once it's reached maturity, EBC resembles a snake with the head of a vibrant red crest of a rooster. Its petite, undulating body sprouts 2 tiny wings which cannot fly, and 2 short legs which can't
I'll
really
tell you what, we were let off when he couldn't fly with those. Imagine one of those fucking things flying around the house. That wouldn't be good, would it? Sure,
I'd probably keep them as pets at that point, wouldn't you? It can only crawl to get around, which gives it something of a pitiful appearance. I can't get around, and I only want a little bit of saliva to suffice. In short, whoever had a hand in creating EBC was either very drunk or had a very cruel sense of humour. That's God, isn't it?
That's how he goes. That's how he rolls, a big man.
That can be thrown at him for a lot of stuff.
Well,
if you choose to believe him.
Swings and roundabouts. We also have to be thankful for all the good.
Yep.
And what better, my poor fool, than to give you an appreciation of it than all of the awful rubbish as well. It's all about balance. It's what we mortals so fail to appreciate.
Yeah, it's true. So, origin story.
I thought we'd already had that.
So the myth of...
Or is this like the vampire from Dracula 2000 and we found out it was Judas? 2000 or 3000, I can't remember. Yeah, that was Gerard Butler. And it turns out it was Judas. And when he cursed himself and became the original vampire.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that.
I think that's actually kind of a cool twist, but the film's fucking terrible. It's like Limp Bizkit the Vampire. Kind of shitty fucking music. That awful late 90s metal that they were coming out with the fucking baseball caps and some whack rapping over.
Yeah, metal with rap.
Well, like the 80s stuff was fine.
Who were the other ones?
Well, you had like Anthrax doing it in the 80s, but they genuinely appreciate the early hip hop and stuff. But no, it was like Limp Bizkit and fucking Papa Roach probably. They were famous.
No. Who's the big one?
I thought Limp Bizkit was the big one.
Limp Bizkit was big, but not really in the UK. There was a bigger metal rap one. Oh, I'll remember it. Who were they?
Oh,
the guy who's gone all mad and now believes in UFOs. Believes in all UFOs.
Sort of Blink-182 or something, but they were more of a pop.
Yeah, Blink-182 was who I'm thinking of.
Did they do stuff? I didn't listen to any of it. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I thought they were more of a sort of pop punk like Green Day kind of thing.
No, they were kind of they were like rap. Well, yeah, that's kind of horrible.
Yeah, because you talk about that one, it just reminds me that there was a guy and there was another one of these awful bands, but this is more of a mopey gothy one that they were called Stains, and he became like a real country singer now apparently. Yeah, he's just had a bit of a hit in the country 100 or whatever they call it, the American sort of music. Basically talking about.
And I'm going back to Tennessee.
He's basically slagging off the Lids. Am I the only one who loves this country? Sees what's going on. All that kind of shit.
I'm going back to my farm where all the snowflakes will melt away.
Red, white, and blue. There's nothing stopping you. Just shut up.
Where I'm no longer ashamed to love.
Why can't I gerrymander district? Why can't I restrict voting rights and empty my rights? Am I the only one fundamentally American values? Yeah, all right, whatever. And that's why we're not country singers. Politics and
singer. Not sure what country. So, origins, the myth of...
They seem quite nice. A little hobbit people.
Like the Concorde's got that stitched up. So the myths of EBC date back to roughly the 16th century, Neil. That's a long one. That's a very old myth, isn't it? and is likely to have been heavily influenced by the arrival of the Spanish conquistadors to the Chilote archipelago. These conquistadors began their conquest of the islands in 1567, during which time their superstitious belief began to fuse with the myths of the indigenous Chono and Huiliche people. Yeah, because the old flying serpent and all that business, Quetzalcoatl, and that kind of thing, that's very much kind of Inca, Aztec.
Yeah, that's
thing,
kind of more Peruvian, I think.
Serpent.
But yeah, not that they were the same strict boundaries and stuff. I'm not quite sure. With the Aztec Empire.
Well, they all of them date back. Well, the earliest sort of known higher civilization, rather than just sort of tribal, was the Olmecs, which they all kind of sprouted out. So they would have similar, like the Abrahamic religions, all got similarities. So they'd have similar kind of gods and stuff, you'd think, and love of the stars. So it was in this way that much of the Chilote mythology was formed. Since the Chilote archipelago was isolated from mainland of Chile, it was unaffected when the Mapuche people began occupying or destroying Spanish settlements in 1598, and thus the local people were able to preserve their unique culture. Thus, EBC is believed to be a combination of three mythical beasts. The basilisk? No. The basilisk, and the cockatrice brought over...
I know that one because I fought one in Witcher 3.
Brought over from Europe by the Spanish conquistadors, and the Colo, a villainous creature from Mapuche mythology. Arguably, the most famous of this terrible trilogy is Basilisk, which resembles a colossal snake that can cause death with a single glance.
Stone, couldn't it, like the Medusa?
In fact,
Basilisk. Yeah.
EBC literally translate to mean the Chilote Basilisco, and serves as a testament to just how well known this cantankerous cobra has become. The cockatrice also bears a variety of similarities to the basilisk. And is often depicted as a
Basilisk.
Basilisk. I wanted to do Owlman, and you've made me do this, and you know all the words. And it's
I'll try and pronounce some Cornish words. That'll be fun.
It's often depicted as a two-legged dragon or serpentine creature with a rooster's head and a small vestigial wings. In fact, by the 14th century, the cockatrice had become virtually synonymous with the
basilisk.
Basilisk, in spite of the fact that the latter was conventionally wingless. Much like EBC, it was rumoured to have been born from an egg laid by a cockerel, although this egg had to be incubated by either a toad or a snake. That's nice, isn't it?
What kind of madman are actually? I've heard this before with the basilisk. It's like the hen lays it, but the rooster actually brings it to term or something. So hen lays an egg, and so I think to get a basilisk, you have to have the hen lays the egg, I guess, and then a rooster actually, incubates.
Well, it's saying here that the egg's laid by a cockerel, so that's a boy. So the boy lays the egg.
He ain't got egg-laying parts, so I don't know how that's working.
No, so I don't know whether they're just getting a bit mixed up here. Whoever's written this, they don't know that a cockerel's a male. And then it's incubated, so sat on by a toad or a snake. Hence, the DNA seeps out of their stomach in through the egg membrane. So the culo, by contrast, derives from the mythology
South America,
of the Mapuche people.
Quite a lot of early kind of genetic crossbreeding of plants and things like that. So you have to wonder: is this some sort of some early indigenous kind of they were playing around with animals as well. A lot of things we take for granted now come from South America, like tomatoes and potatoes and all sorts of
potatoes, onions.
They managed to sort of I think they've gone back and found the sort of original sort of things they had to work with. They were sort of incredible, kind of gardeners and are able to sort of crossbreed all of these things to produce things that you can actually eat.
And I
forget what it was, but there's like a staple grain that's book 1491. It talks about what happens when Columbus everybody came over. It's sort of. Yeah, they found. Yeah, I think it might be just like the maize crop, but I can't remember what it's called. There's if you go and find where the original wild plant where this would have come from, it's like practically inedible, and it's like really moved on genetically from where from where we had the current crop.
They're very
exactly. Yeah, and the cultivation stuff would have been really kind of like
Well, they've got that's people kind of they think of ayahuasca, which is the hallucinogen drink which people go and take because it can really help people with depression and stuff like that. But they kind of think that they're kind of, they think of it as a spiritual thing. And it is weird because it's from it's made from two plants that are both pretty rare in the rainforest. And like, who thought to stick these together and have a drink? Do you know what I mean? It's kind of, like to try every plant with every plant in the Amazon, a little bit of time. So the Colo Colo, by contrast, derives from the mythology of the Mapuche people who live predominantly in south-central Chile and southwestern Argentina. Its appearance varies depending on the region, but it often depicts either a feathered rat or a reptile with a rat's head. The rabid rodent was believed to hatch from an egg laid by a snake and incubated by a rooster. Once it had hatched, the Colo Colo would hide underneath the house and secretly feast on the saliva of the residents. Eventually, the local saliva... Oh, evidently... No, I'm not reading that. Unlike EBC, however, the Colo Colo could be exorcised from a home by a special Mapuche religious leader known as a Machi. It's commonly believed that legends such as Colo Colo and EBC evolved out of the fact the locals had no explanation for the occurrence of various illnesses.
Yeah, it does make a lot of sense.
So they're often blamed on
some much as forces. If you read back some of I remember did a history of medicine for GCSEs, I think it was. There was a really hilarious thing where they had sort of comparing Eastern and Western medicine. So, it's sort of the Western medicine was like, someone's got a headache. And it's like, they're plagued by demons. Let's trepan the skull and open up, get the demons out. Whereas, the Eastern was like, which obviously is just sensible medicine. And, they've studied their Galen. They actually know the four humours properly. Which Eastern medicine, it's like probably drink some water, have a salad and, avoid rich foods. Rest for a few days and then you'll be fine. Demons are all pent up.
Heavily trepanned.
You're going to go furious in there, aren't they?
I've been feeling a lot better since I got my 12th trepanning.
People still do trepanning to this day.
Yes, I do know that, yeah. They do it themselves.
Yeah,
I know. But, I do it myself, so I do know.
Yeah, that's a good point. Probably should listen next time, shouldn't I?
Eastern medicine's got loads to teach us. And to be fair, I would say that tribal medicine has a lot to teach us from people who are indigenous to these areas. I think we only have... there's lots of stuff.
Yeah, it's like from malaria. Quinine was known about. I think that's a tree bark. That might be from the Americas, actually, quinine, which is used to treat malaria.
Well, first antibiotics sort of came from nomads who lived in, I believe, the Sahara. And basically, if they got a cut that was infected or something, they would take mould off of the leather on the horse's saddle and rub it on there, and it was penicillin. So, there's these things kicking about, but I don't know how much GlaxoSmithKline actually, would be listening to tribal elders.
In fairness, I think it's more to do with the how much money spent on R&D of new things rather than just rehashing stuff you've already got patents on. But no, I think in fairness, there's quite a lot of field investigation has been.
There is an argument, though, that there is more money in treatment than cure.
Let's not go down that rabbit hole. I suspect to an extent there's probably some truth in that, but I think it's more about what you can patent and how much money you can make. So if you've got an existing patent and that's being used for treatment, then obviously it's a lot easier to make money than trying to create something brand new that's effective and safe, and then That takes a...
But rather than, I know why, because this would go entirely against the very moral fabric of the people who are in charge of government. But rather than setting up a British cryptocurrency, should we not fund researchers and set up a British medical organisation that does research and goes out and does that stuff and then tries to produce medicines that benefit humanity?
Things like MRC, it's just, how well you're funding them or not, that's a different question. But yeah. Well, it's not much monetary, Chris. Except when they're in.
Until it is, yeah. So,
look, let's just face the facts. Neither you nor I went to Eton, so we're not qualified to talk about any of this stuff. So.
That's true. I didn't even go to university. Imagine that.
Didn't realise that. Disgraceful. Ring off immediately.
That's the only reason you hang around with me. Whenever we're off air, you're going, "You boy," hitting me with your cane. In particular, they served as a satisfactory explanation for consumptive diseases like cancer, leukemia, and chronic lung conditions, which religious healers throughout Chile were powerless to defend against during that time. Another more bizarre explanation for the origins of these mythical beasts is related to their birth, as they were frequently described as the product of a male rooster or an elderly hen. These monsters may have been a physical representation of the psychological anxiety that local people had about abnormal sexual activity, such as intercourse between men or pregnancy and old age. Maybe. I doubt it. In short, EBC may be the most homophobic, blah, blah, blah.
I suppose maybe if you get a bit older, you start getting a bit more, you start to lose your energy and stuff. So it's better to blame it. It's like, I'm having a little bit of trouble downstairs. The wife is, it's probably LB. Been in here dosing on my saliva.
So to look at him,
it's a long time between the 16th century and Viagra, Chris.
Well, the thing is I don't know this. I'm ignorant on the subject of what the belief systems of the whoever it was, the Maui? Oh no, not Maui. That's a different thing. The Mapuche. I'm ignorant to their belief systems. I don't know that most. I honestly don't know. I wasn't aware of there being a lot of anti-homosexual sentiment. But, I would say that would be something that probably came with the conquistadors.
Oh, no, I was thinking more of erectile dysfunction, but...
As usual.
It's a bit on my mind about Chris for some reason.
It's always top of mind. No, it's saying that, it could be psychological anxiety about abnormal sexual activity, but I'm not sure that was something that seems to have come in with the Abrahamic religion.
That would have been part of the... part of the whole sort of Christian stuff came across. But,
I know. Who's to say? I don't know enough about what their beliefs, the ancient people's beliefs were. But I would say in general it doesn't tend to be...
Don't know how much of that kind of...
as backwards as...
well, also I don't know how much we sort of understand about sort of the broader beliefs and things like that, the moral systems, because there wasn't a written record, was there?
No, they were just killed up. So, Neil, this week I am going to be selecting my numbers by I've tied little flags onto several hundred flies that I have currently buzzing around my room, and I have in front of me 4 Venus flytraps. So, again, by summoning the wisdom that is inherent throughout the universe and within the life and death cycle of nature, I'm going to be whichever fly gets caught by each fly trap. I've got them under yogurt pots at the moment. I remove the lid, see which fly goes in.
But it sounds like a thorough. Who better but the animal kingdom to decide to have to school the animal kingdom?
There's a lot of flies. It won't take very long. Maybe too many. So, spookiness, Neil, you go first.
So I think the idea of some...
And there we go. Hopefully you hadn't heard those and maybe got something out of it. Who knows? The world's a strange place. We will be back with another one of these next week. We're currently working on the Christmas mini-series, so it's taking a bit of time. We both have work and stuff as well. But yeah, obviously contact us at herb.legends.podcast@gmail.com or on X at Legends Urbane. Should you want to, or you've got any ideas for Series 6, we're going to be planning the start of that over Christmas as well. But apart from that, I hope you've had a good week, and I hope you have much success, many wins, and get a nice feeling of warmth and joy over the next week. And we'll be back then. Goodbye.